In the vibrant pulse of Seattle, where coffee shops hum and rain paints the streets, 29-year-old Emily Carter was living her best life. Her 2-year relationship with Jake Miller, a 30-year-old graphic designer with a disarming smile, felt like a dream. Meanwhile, her younger sister, Lauren, 27, was the family's shining star, preparing to marry her college sweetheart, Mark Evans, in a fairy tale wedding. Lauren's infectious laugh and charm drew everyone in, and Emily was thrilled to support her sister's big day. But as the wedding neared, a subtle unease crept into Emily's heart. It started at a family dinner at their parents' cozy suburban home. Lauren, radiant as ever, bubbled about her wedding plans: a lace gown, a live band, a 3-tiered cake. The room buzzed with excitement, but Emily's attention snagged on something else. When Jake cracked a light-hearted joke about Mark's nerves over his groom's speech, Lauren erupted in laughter, her hand brushing Jake's arm. "Oh, Jake, you're hilarious," she said, her eyes lingering a beat too long. Emily's stomach twisted. It wasn't just the laugh, it was the way Lauren leaned in, her smile too warm, her touch too deliberate. Emily tried to brush it off. She's just excited about the wedding, she told herself. Lauren had always been affectionate, the kind of person who lit up a room. But as the evening wore on, Emily couldn't unsee the pattern. Lauren found excuses to hover near Jake, complimenting his new jacket or giggling at his offhand remarks. Each moment was small, almost imperceptible, but together they formed a mosaic of discomfort in Emily's mind. Later that night, as they drove home, Emily glanced at Jake, his hands steady on the wheel. She took a deep breath. "Did you notice anything off with Lauren tonight?" she asked, her voice cautious. Jake's brow furrowed, his eyes flicking to her. "Off? Like what?" he replied, genuinely puzzled. Emily hesitated, then spilled her observations: the excessive laughter, the lingering looks, the casual touches. Jake listened, but after a moment he chuckled softly. She's just caught up in wedding fever. It's nothing. You're reading too much into it." His words should have reassured her, but they didn't. Instead, they left a sting, a flicker of doubt, not just about Lauren, but about whether Jake saw what she saw. Emily forced a smile, nodding, but her mind raced. Was she being paranoid? Or was her gut trying to tell her something? She decided to keep a closer eye on Lauren, hoping her suspicions were baseless. Over the next few weeks, the wedding preparations intensified, and so did Emily's unease. At a cake-tasting session, Lauren asked Jake's opinion on flavors, her voice playful, her eyes locked on his. At a family game night, she insisted Jake join her team, her hand grazing his shoulder as they celebrated a win. Each interaction was subtle, cloaked in friendliness, but to Emily they screamed intent. She felt like a detective, cataloging every glance, every laugh, her heart sinking with each new clue. One evening, after a particularly flirty moment at a rehearsal dinner, Lauren teasing Jake about his dance moves while resting her hand on his arm, Emily reached her limit. Alone in their apartment, she turned to Jake, her voice steady but firm. "Jake, we need to talk about Lauren. She's been way too touchy with you, and it's not just wedding excitement. It's making me uncomfortable." Jake sighed, running a hand through his hair. Come on. She's your sister. She's just being her bubbly self. There's nothing to worry about." His dismissal hit like a punch. "It's not nothing," Emily pressed, her voice rising. "She's crossing lines, and you're not even trying to see it." Jake's expression softened, but his words stayed firm. "I think you're blowing this out of proportion. I don't want to cause drama with your family over something that's not there." The conversation ended in a tense stalemate, neither willing to budge. Emily lay awake that night, her mind churning. If Jake wouldn't acknowledge the problem, she'd have to face it alone. Determined to trust her instincts, Emily resolved to watch Lauren closely. The wedding was 2 weeks away, and she couldn't shake the feeling that something was brewing beneath the surface. Little did she know, her suspicions were about to collide with a truth far more devastating than she could imagine. Emily Carter's world felt like it was tilting. The Seattle rain drummed against her apartment window, mirroring the unease churning in her chest. Her confrontation with Jake about her sister Lauren's flirty behavior had gone nowhere, leaving her more isolated than ever. Jake's insistence that Lauren was just being herself echoed in her mind, but Emily's gut screamed otherwise. At 29, she wasn't one to ignore her instincts, and with Lauren's wedding to Mark Evans just 10 days away, she knew she had to act. The next morning, Emily watched Lauren closely at a wedding venue walkthrough. Lauren, 27, floated through the room, her laughter bright as she discussed floral arrangements with the planner. But Emily's eyes were on Jake, who'd been roped into helping carry sample centerpieces. When Lauren called him over to check the table setup, her hand grazed his as she pointed out a detail. The touch was fleeting, but deliberate, and Emily's jaw tightened. Lauren's eyes flicked to Jake's, a smile playing on her lips. It was like watching a performance, one Emily wasn't meant to notice. That evening, Emily tried talking to Jake again. They sat on their couch, the TV muted, the air heavy. Jake, I saw Lauren touch you today. Again. It's not just friendly. Can't you see it? Her voice was steady, but her hands trembled. Jake sighed, his brow creasing. She asked me to help with the tables. It was nothing. You're turning this into something it's not. His tone was patient but edged with frustration, like he was talking to a child. Emily's heart sank. It's not nothing when it happens every time you're around her. Why won't you set boundaries? Jake threw up his hands. What do you want me to do? Tell your sister to back off? She's about to get married, I'm trying to keep the peace. The argument spiraled, voices rising, then falling into silence. Jake's refusal to see her side left Emily feeling like she was screaming into a void. She went to bed with a knot in her stomach, resolved to confront Lauren directly. If Jake wouldn't listen, maybe her sister would. Emily texted Lauren the next day, asking to meet for coffee. Lauren replied instantly, her tone bubbly. Sure, sis. Can't wait. They met at a small cafe, the scent of espresso mingling with the tension in Emily's chest. Lauren, radiant in a sweater and scarf, launched into wedding chatter, bridesmaid dresses, the DJ's playlist, her honeymoon plans. Emily nodded, her fingers tight around her mug, waiting for an opening. Finally, she cut in, her voice low but firm. Lauren, we need to talk about how you've been acting with Jake. Lauren's smile faltered, her eyes narrowing. What are you talking about? She asked, her tone sharp. Emily took a breath, steadying herself. The way you laugh at his jokes, touch his arm, look at him. It's too much. It's not just friendly, and it's making me uncomfortable. The words hung heavy between them. Lauren's face flushed, her lips parting in disbelief. Are you serious? Jake's practically family. You're accusing me of what, exactly? Her voice rose, drawing glances from nearby tables. I'm not accusing, Emily said, keeping her tone even. I'm asking you to stop. It's crossing a line. Lauren laughed, but it was sharp, bitter. You're jealous, Emily. My wedding's coming up, and you're making this about you. That's pathetic. The words stung like a slap. Emily leaned forward, her voice firm. I'm not jealous. I'm your sister, and I'm telling you this feels wrong. Respect that. Lauren's eyes flashed with anger. If you can't trust me, that's your problem, not mine. She stood abruptly, her chair scraping the floor, and stormed out, leaving Emily alone with her racing thoughts. The encounter left Emily reeling. Lauren's denial only deepened her suspicions, and the accusation of jealousy gnawed at her. Was she blowing this out of proportion? She called her cousin Mia, 25, hoping for a neutral perspective. Over the phone, Mia listened quietly as Emily recounted the cafe showdown. I don't know, Mia said cautiously. Lauren's always been flirty, but I've seen her get cozy with Jake too. You're not crazy for noticing. Mia's validation was a lifeline, but it wasn't enough to quell Emily's doubts. Back home, Emily faced another tense night with Jake. She told him about the cafe, hoping for support. Instead, he groaned, rubbing his temples. You're stirring up drama right before her wedding. Why can't you let this go? His words cut deep. Let it go? She's throwing herself at you, and you're acting like I'm the problem. Emily snapped. Jake's eyes softened, but his voice stayed firm. She's your sister. I'm not interested in her. Okay? Can we drop this? The conversation ended in a stalemate, leaving Emily more alone than ever. Her parents, sensing the rift, called the next day. Lauren's upset, Emily, her mom said, her tone gentle but probing. She says you accused her of something awful. What's going on? Emily tried to explain, but her parents echoed Jake's sentiment. Lauren was just excited, and Emily was overreacting. Their doubt was a fresh wound. Even Mia, though supportive, urged caution. Don't push too hard, It's her wedding. Maybe wait till after. But Emily couldn't wait. The wedding was a week away, and Lauren's behavior only grew bolder. At a family barbecue, Lauren asked Jake to help grill, standing close as they flipped burgers, her laughter ringing out. Emily watched from across the yard, her heart pounding. When she stepped inside for a moment, she returned to find them in a quiet corner, heads bent close, Lauren's hand on Jake's wrist. They sprang apart when they saw her, but the damage was done. Emily's blood boiled, but she held her tongue, not wanting to make a scene. That night, she lay awake, replaying every moment. Lauren's denials, Jake's dismissals, her family's skepticism, it all felt like gaslighting. But the image of Lauren and Jake in that corner was burned into her mind. She knew she wasn't imagining things. Something was wrong, and she was done pretending otherwise. With the wedding looming, Emily steeled herself for what came next, unaware that the truth was about to shatter everything she held dear. The Seattle sky was heavy with clouds, mirroring the storm brewing in Emily Carter's heart. At 29, she'd never felt so alone. Her sister Lauren's flirty behavior with her boyfriend Jake had driven a wedge between her and everyone she loved. Jake's dismissals, Lauren's denials, and her parents' skepticism left Emily questioning her sanity. But the image of Lauren's hand on Jake's wrist at the family barbecue burned in her mind, a silent scream that something was terribly wrong. With Lauren's wedding to Mark Evans just 5 days away, Emily knew she couldn't ignore her instincts any longer. The tension followed her to a wedding rehearsal at the church where fairy lights twinkled against stained glass windows. Lauren, 27, was a vision of bridal joy, directing bridesmaids with a radiant smile. Jake, roped into helping with logistics, carried chairs to the altar. Emily watched as Lauren called him over to fix a light strand, her fingers brushing his as she handed him a bulb. Their eyes met and Lauren's laugh rang out, too bright, too intimate. Emily's chest tightened, her nails digging into her palms. She wanted to scream, but she bit her lip, waiting for the moment to pass. That night, Emily confronted Jake in their apartment, the air thick with unspoken accusations. "I saw you with Lauren at the rehearsal," she said, her voice trembling but firm. "She's not just being friendly, Jake. She's flirting, and you're letting it happen." Jake's face hardened, his patience fraying. This again?" She needed help with the lights. "What do you want me to do, ignore her?" His tone was sharp, cutting. "I want you to set boundaries," Emily shot back. "You're my boyfriend, not her personal assistant." Jake sighed, rubbing his neck. "You're making a mountain out of nothing. She's your sister, for God's sake. Can we drop this before it ruins everything?" The argument ended in silence, Jake retreating to the bedroom while Emily stared at the wall, her heart pounding. His refusal to see her side felt like a betrayal in itself. She texted her cousin Mia, desperate for clarity. "Mia, I'm losing it. Lauren's all over Jake, and he thinks I'm crazy." "Am I?" Mia's reply was quick. "You're not crazy, Em. I saw her at the barbecue too. She's pushing boundaries. Talk to her again, but be careful, it's her wedding week." Mia's words were a lifeline, but they didn't ease the dread pooling in Emily's stomach. The next day, Emily drove to her parents' house for a final wedding prep meeting. Lauren had asked for help with favor bags, and Emily, still a bridesmaid despite the rift, felt obligated to show up. The house buzzed with activity, her mom tying ribbons, her dad sorting RSVPs. Lauren flitted about, her energy frenetic. Jake was there too, helping move gift boxes to the garage. Emily kept her distance, but her eyes tracked Lauren's every move. When Lauren asked Jake to grab a box from the backyard shed, Emily's pulse quickened. Something felt off. She excused herself to the bathroom, then slipped outside, her sneakers silent on the grass. The backyard was quiet, the shed partially hidden by a towering evergreen. As she approached, she heard muffled voices. Her heart thudded as she peeked around the tree. There, in the shadow of the shed, were Lauren and Jake, locked in a passionate embrace. Lauren's arms were around Jake's neck, his hands gripping her waist, their lips pressed together in a kiss that left no room for misinterpretation. Time froze. Emily's breath caught, her world collapsing in a single, shattering moment. "What the hell is this?" Emily's scream tore through the air, raw and ragged. Lauren and Jake sprang apart, their faces pale with guilt. Lauren's eyes widened, her hands flying to her mouth. "Oh my God," she stammered, tears welling. Jake stepped forward, his voice shaking. "Emily, it's not what it looks like." But it was exactly what it looked like. The truth hit like a tidal wave, confirming every fear she'd buried. "You're both liars," Emily spat, her voice breaking. "How could you do this to me?" Lauren sobbed, reaching for her. "I'm so sorry, Em. It just happened. We didn't mean," Emily cut her off, her hands shaking. "Don't. Just don't." Jake's face crumpled, but his words were hollow. Please, let's talk about this." Emily backed away, her vision blurring with tears. "There's nothing to talk about. You're dead to me." Both of you. She turned and ran to her car, their desperate calls fading behind her. The pain was a living thing, clawing at her chest as she sped away. In a Tacoma hotel room, Emily collapsed, the weight of the betrayal crushing her. Her phone buzzed relentlessly, Jake, Lauren, her mom, but she couldn't face them. The sister she loved, the man she'd trusted, had shattered her world. She sent Jake a final text, "We're done. Don't contact me." Then she blocked his number, her hands trembling. The wedding loomed, but the thought of standing at Lauren's side as a bridesmaid was unbearable. She couldn't celebrate a lie. Alone in the dim room, Emily's mind raced. Lauren's wedding was days away, and Mark, the groom, deserved to know the truth. But could she bring herself to tell him? Would he believe her, or would he dismiss her like everyone else? The betrayal cut deeper than she'd imagined, and yet a flicker of resolve sparked within her. She'd been right all along. Her instincts had led her to this painful truth, and now she had to decide what to do with it. Little did she know the fallout was only beginning, and the wedding day would bring a reckoning no one saw coming. Emily Carter sat in the dim glow of a Tacoma hotel room, the hum of the city outside a faint echo against her racing thoughts. At 29, she'd never felt so broken. The image of her sister Lauren, 27, and her now ex-boyfriend Jake, 30, locked in a passionate kiss behind her parents' shed replayed like a cruel loop. Their betrayal had shattered her trust, leaving her isolated from her family as Lauren's wedding to Mark Evans loomed just 3 days away. Emily's phone buzzed with missed calls, Lauren, Jake, her parents, but she couldn't face them. The pain was too raw, the wound too fresh. She stared at the ceiling, grappling with a decision that felt like a boulder on her chest. Mark, Lauren's fiancé, deserved to know the truth. He was kind, steady, the kind of man who'd planned a life with Lauren, unaware of her deception. But telling him meant plunging her family into chaos, maybe even costing her any chance of reconciliation with them. Emily's cousin Mia had texted earlier, checking in, "You okay? I'm here if you need to talk." Mia's support was a lifeline, but even she couldn't guide Emily through this. The next morning, Emily sat on the edge of the bed, her hands trembling as she dialed Mark's number. Her heart pounded as it rang. When he answered, his voice was warm but tinged with confusion. "Emily? Hey, what's going on? Lauren said you've been off the grid." Emily took a shaky breath, steeling herself. "Mark, I need to tell you something. It's about Lauren and Jake." Her voice cracked, but she pushed on, recounting everything, the flirty glances, the touches, her ignored pleas, and the devastating scene in the backyard. "I saw them kissing, Mark. They were together. I'm so sorry." Silence stretched on the other end, heavy and suffocating. Emily's stomach churned, expecting him to lash out or dismiss her. Finally, Mark spoke, his voice low and measured. "Thank you for telling me, Emily. I need time to process this." He paused, then added, "Please don't tell anyone else yet. I'll handle it." The call ended abruptly, leaving Emily staring at her phone, unsure if she'd done the right thing. Mark's calm unnerved her. Would he confront Lauren? Forgive her? She had no way to know. Exhausted, Emily turned off her phone, craving escape. She drove to a quiet park outside Tacoma, walking trails lined with evergreens, the crisp air grounding her. As she sat on a bench, watching families laugh and play, her mind wandered. She'd lost Jake, her sister, and maybe her parents' trust. The wedding felt like a looming specter. She couldn't imagine standing as a bridesmaid, smiling for photos while her heart bled. Yet skipping it entirely felt like letting Lauren win, like pretending the betrayal never happened. She was torn, adrift in a sea of hurt and indecision. Back at the hotel, Emily reconnected with Mia over a video call. Mia's face was etched with concern. You did the right thing telling Mark. He deserved to know." Emily nodded, but her voice was hollow. "What if he doesn't believe me? Or worse, what if he forgives her? Lauren always gets away with everything." Mia frowned, thoughtful. "I saw Mark at the venue yesterday. He was quiet, distracted. Not himself. I think he's taking this seriously." Mia's words sparked a flicker of hope, but also dread. What would Mark do? The next day, Emily's parents called, their voices strained. "Emily, why aren't you answering? Lauren's a mess, saying you're avoiding her. What's happening?" Emily's throat tightened. She wanted to spill everything, but Mark's request to keep quiet held her back. "I just need space, Mom," she managed. Her mom sighed, frustrated. "This is her wedding, Emily. Whatever's going on, can't it wait?" The call ended with Emily feeling more alone than ever, her family slipping further away. As the wedding day approached, Emily assumed the worst. Mark had forgiven Lauren and the ceremony would go on as planned. The thought of Lauren gliding down the aisle, radiant and unscathed, while Emily's life lay in ruins, made her physically ill. She decided to skip the wedding, unable to stomach the charade. Instead, she planned to spend the day alone, maybe hiking or journaling, anything to reclaim a piece of herself. She packed a small bag, ready to check out of the hotel and find a new place to breathe. That evening, Mia texted again, Something's up. Mark's been acting weird. I overheard him talking to the planner about changes to the ceremony. No clue what it means. Emily's heart skipped. Was Mark planning something? Or was it just wishful thinking? She didn't reply, too drained to speculate. As she lay in bed, the weight of her decision settled in. She'd told the truth, but at what cost? Her relationship with Jake was over, her bond with Lauren likely irreparable. Even her parents seemed to side with her sister, oblivious to the truth. Emily drifted into a restless sleep, unaware that across town, Mark was wrestling with his own turmoil. He'd spent days piecing together Lauren's lies, his calm facade hiding a storm of resolve. The wedding day was hours away, and while Emily braced for heartbreak, Mark was preparing a move that would turn the celebration into a reckoning. The stage was set for a twist that would leave the church in stunned silence, and Emily, though absent, would soon feel its ripple. Emily Carter woke to the soft hum of her Tacoma hotel room, the weight of betrayal still heavy on her chest. At 29, she'd lost her boyfriend Jake, her sister Lauren, and her family's trust in a single, shattering moment. The image of Lauren, 27, and Jake, 30, kissing behind her parents' shed had broken her world. She'd told Lauren's fiancé, Mark Evans, the truth, but his quiet, "I'll handle it," left her expecting the worst, that he'd forgiven Lauren and their wedding would proceed as planned. Today was the day, and Emily couldn't face it. She'd chosen to skip the ceremony, unable to watch Lauren glide down the aisle while her own heart lay in pieces. Emily packed her bag, planning to drive to a quiet cabin in the Cascades for solitude. Her phone, silenced after days of ignored calls from Lauren, Jake, and her parents, buzzed with a new message from her cousin Mia. I'm at the church. Something feels off. Mark's too calm. Call me later. Emily's stomach twisted. Mia's cryptic note stirred a flicker of curiosity, but she pushed it down. She couldn't afford hope, not after everything. She checked out of the hotel, her mind set on escape. Across town, the historic Seattle church glowed with anticipation. Guests filled the pews, their murmurs blending with the organ's soft notes. Lauren stood at the altar, radiant in her ivory gown, her smile a perfect mask. Mark, 28, stood beside her, his expression unreadable. The officiant began, but as the moment for vows approached, Mark raised a hand, his voice cutting through the hush. I need to say something. The room froze, every eye on him. Lauren's smile faltered, a shadow crossing her face. Mark turned to the guests, his tone steady but resolute. I can't marry Lauren. She betrayed her sister, Emily, by pursuing a relationship with Emily's boyfriend, Jake. I can't build a life with someone who'd hurt family like that. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Lauren's face drained of color, her hands trembling as tears spilled down her cheeks. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came. Mark faced Emily's parents in the front row, his voice softening. I'm sorry you're learning this now. You deserve to know why Emily's been distant. With that, he walked down the aisle, his steps echoing in the stunned silence, leaving Lauren alone at the altar. The church erupted in whispers. Guests turned to each other, piecing together the scandal. Lauren's sobs filled the air as her parents rushed to her side, their faces a mix of shock and confusion. Her mother tried to comfort her, but Lauren pushed her away, collapsing onto a pew, her gown pooling around her. Emily's parents exchanged glances, the weight of their earlier dismissal of Emily sinking in. The ceremony was over before it began, the fairy tale wedding reduced to a public unraveling. Miles away, Emily sat in her car, unaware of the drama unfolding. She'd stopped at a diner, nursing a coffee, when her phone lit up with Mia's name. She hesitated, then answered. Oh my God, you won't believe what happened. Mia's voice was breathless, laced with disbelief. She recounted the scene, Mark's calm announcement, Lauren's collapse, the guest's shock. He called her out in front of everyone. Said it was for you because she hurt you. Your parents are reeling. They're asking for you now. Emily's breath caught, her coffee forgotten. A wave of validation washed over her, her instincts, her pain, her truth had been acknowledged. Mark hadn't ignored her, he'd chosen justice over a lie. But the triumph was bittersweet. Her family was in chaos, her sister humiliated, her parents blindsided. She felt a pang of guilt for the pain she'd indirectly caused, yet relief that the truth was out. Thanks, Mia, she whispered, her voice thick. I need time. She hung up, staring out the diner window, the world both clearer and heavier. Later, Emily checked into the cabin, the forest's quiet a balm for her frayed nerves. She sat by a crackling fire, journaling her thoughts. Lauren's betrayal had cost her a sister, Jake's deception a partner. Her parents' calls had resumed, their voicemails softer, hinting at regret for doubting her. She wasn't ready to respond, but the shift gave her hope. Mark's courage had exposed the truth, and while it didn't erase the hurt, it freed Emily from carrying the secret alone. As she wrote, Emily reflected on her journey. She trusted her gut when everyone called her paranoid, faced betrayal head-on, and found strength in her resolve. The road to healing would be long: therapy, new boundaries, maybe even mending ties with her parents. But for the first time, she felt a spark of peace. Lauren and Jake had faced consequences, their actions laid bare. Emily vowed to rebuild, to trust herself above all, and to find a life where honesty reigned. The wedding's collapse was the end of one chapter, but the start of another. Emily closed her journal, the fire's glow warming her face. She didn't know what tomorrow held, but she knew she'd face it on her terms, stronger for the truth she'd fought to uncover.